Hello class and welcome to this video. In our today's video, I want us to talk about the audit plan or the audit program. You will find that before an audit is conducted, the auditor needs to have a plan. And the plan on the minimum acceptable things that should be looked at and how they are going to be looked at is actually what we call the audit program. If, for example, I want to audit an organization and find out maybe how cash has been received and how cash has been spent to avoid a case whereby money is being embezzled, I need to have a program on the things that I'm going to look at, and then I'll be able to know whether actually cash is being recorded properly in a manner that's supposed to be. So in short, we can say that an audit program is a basic plan regarding the entity's business, its size, and how to conduct the audit. It contains details regarding the relevancy of the evidence, materiality level, risk tolerance, measure of the sufficiency of evidence. Thus, programs enhance the accountability of the audit team and its members for the work performed by them. So it's just like a timetable. How are we going to look at it? How are we going to make sure that we don't leave anything unturned or anything untouched? And how are we going to find out that either there is proper records or there is no proper records? So it is actually going to give them a sequence of activities that they are going to conduct so that at the end of the day, they can make a very logical and very conclusive report on the state of affairs of that particular organization. An auditor may revise the audit program if he considers it necessary due to the prevailing circumstances. Remember, the audit program is not actually universal. It keeps on changing from one organization to the next and also from the size of organization to the other. So we don't have universally acceptable audit programs. So the auditor can assign or can change the program to suit the prevailing circumstances under which he or she is conducting the audit. And then here we are told that thus an auditor prepares an audit program according to its scope of work. The minimum essential work to be performed is the standard program. However, there is no set audit standard program applicable in all the circumstances. And as I've just said, there is no universally acceptable audit standard. It keeps on changing. It is upon the auditor and his or her team to come up with an audit program that they feel is going to be essential and is going to be comprehensive on that particular area or that particular organization in which they are conducting the audit. Then, of importance also to note is that the audit working papers document the activities that the audit program performs. Audit working papers support the work performed by the auditor and providing assurance that the audit was performed in accordance with all applicable standards of auditing. It helps the auditor in the proper execution of audit work. Remember, the audit working papers, it is just a document. It's actually like a notebook whereby you document or you write down all that you intend to do and how you are going to intend to do that particular work. So this particular audit program that we are talking about here, it cannot be just a hearsay, it cannot be communicated verbally, but it needs to be documented down in what we say it is called the audit working papers, or the documents that are going to be used or followed while conducting the audit exercise. An audit program covers various steps of auditing. In an audit program, like the assessment of the internal control to find out what are the prevailing internal control. Like, for example, if it is fixed assets, what are the internal control the organization has put in place to ensure that these particular fixed assets are not lost and all they are not sold by the employees or the top managers of that particular organization without even being noticed. Such kind of things. Also, ascertain the accuracy and the reliability of books of accounts. How sure are we that this information that has been recorded in the book of account is actually what actually happened in that particular period. Inspection. Some of these things need to be inspected. Like, for example, fixed assets. If the organization reports that it has got a motor vehicle maybe worth 5 millions, then it is important to go and inspect and for sure confirm whether those motor vehicles are there physically, instead of just maybe reading from the books and stopping there. Then we have watching and verification. Like, for example, if, for example, there are things like the payments, whereby you are told that in this particular case, we made payments worth this much. If those payments were actually made, then there is receipts that were issued. You can go and get the carbon copy of those receipts and confirm whether those payments were actually effected as being captured in the books of account. And then valuation of assets and liabilities. Some assets and liabilities can be overvalued. They can say that this building is worth maybe 10 millions, but the way you look at it, you find that it is not worth 10 million. You can involve the work of an external valuer to come and actually value that particular building to confirm whether what is contained in the books of account is actually true. And then scrutinize the accounts and presentation of the financial statement and submission of reports and related disclosure. So you'll find that the audit program is actually like a series of activities that needs to be conducted from the beginning up to the end. What are we going to start with, and what are we going to move to next, and then up to the end when you are going to submit the audit report, which contains on the findings of your audit exercise. So note that an audit program is actually an audit plan, what needed to be covered and how the investigation will be conducted, so that you can reach to a logical and accurate report at the end of the day. So if, for example, we can continue, we can look at the advantages of the audit program. The audit program, it helps in ensuring that all important areas are considered while conducting the audit without overlooking any other area. All of them are captured and none of the area is actually left out. Number two, an audit program helps an auditor in the allocation of work among the team members according to their skills and competence. Remember, when audit is being conducted, it's normally not a one-person show. You find that maybe if it is an organization like ABC Limited, you find that maybe you have a team of maybe 6 people who are going to conduct with the team leader there. The team leader can use the audit program to assign the laws to the other team members in conducting that particular audit. And when doing that, it must be based on the skills and the competency. I'm giving employee A this particular role because he or she is good in that particular area, and not because of maybe friendship and such kind of things. It enhances the accountability of audit team members towards the work performed by the team. And also the audit program also reduces the scope for misunderstanding among the team members regarding the performance of the audit work. Actually, to minimize the quarrels and such kind of things, you come up with an audit program whereby each and every person is given the roles he or she is supposed to do, and confusion is going to be minimized or eradicated. It helps the auditor in checking the status of audit work, its progress, how much is left, the performance while conducting the audit. If you have a properly prepared audit program, then you will be able to know where you are coming from and where you are going. How much have you covered? How much have you not covered as per the program that you have? Auditor prepares the audit working papers which contains a record of various audit procedure applied which serves as evidence against the change of the charge of negligence. If, for example, one of the team member is actually negligent, meaning that he did not do a certain particular audit, or he did not review some things which he was supposed to review, then you find that the audit program can actually act as an evidence against that particular charge of negligence, whether actually you are supposed to do that and you neglected that, or it was outside the scope of your audit program. Enables the auditor to keep a record of useful information, especially for future audit and references. It gives, remember, once you record that, you can be able to defend yourself maybe in the future, and also know whether to improve that particular audit program in the future or not. Even if The audit program has got quite a number of advantages. It also suffers some setbacks or disadvantages. Number one is rigidity. You find that once this program has been prepared, the audit team normally sticks to that particular program without any other variation. You find that now, because of that rigidity, when you go to the actual audit, you find that maybe a certain area was supposed to be done in a different way, but because the program does not allow that, you only stick to what the program was stipulating, and therefore neglecting certain issues which were not captured in the program. It reduces the initiative of efficient staff. Some staff might be very innovative, but because of this particular program, you find that their hands are tied. They cannot apply their innovative capabilities in the conducting of the audit. Audit work becomes mechanical. It becomes mechanical because you are only required to do what is stipulated, and you cannot go outside that particular area with regard to aspects in the internal control. It also overlooks new areas. You might find that you might be getting some emerging issues which were actually not captured in the audit program. And because they were not captured, they are overlooked by the audit staff. And at the end of the day, you find that the report that is going to be issued is not going to be such conclusive. Thank you very much. But not here. That is just the audit program and the advantages. In this particular area, we are going to look at the audit program for quite a number of areas. We are going to start with the audit program of things like the cash and the bank. Here, our interest will be to find out whether the cash in hand and the cash at bank are actually being maintained in a way that they are not being embezzled. We need to know what are the procedures that we are going to conduct to ensure that the cash that is being recorded in the business or the financial statements is actually the correct cash amount that was spent or that is remaining, and no cash that was misused. Like I've said, things like cash is very, very, very sensitive. You will find that for cash, for you to confirm whether the payments were made or the cash was received, go and find through the vouchers and also the receipts that were issued. You can actually confirm that through a random check. And the moment you check that and you confirm, then you will be able to come up with a very good audit report. Also, we have got the audit program for things like maybe the non-current assets or the fixed assets. You need to confirm whether these assets are actually here in the business or they are not. And a good example of a program that you can have maybe it is to do an inspection. In the same case, try to inspect and see whether there is overvaluation of that particular asset. Try to find out actually if these particular assets were disposed or not. So that will form a basis for the audit program when it comes to the different areas. We also have the audit program for things like the debtors. Here, you can find a case whereby a person is being captured as a debtor in the books of accounts, but that particular person has already paid. But the moment he paid, he did not get his name cleared. So you need to do such kind of checks to find actually these debtors that are being captured in the book of accounts, they actually exist or they don't. You can make phone calls to those debtors and confirm whether the balances that are captured in the books of accounts is the balances they are aware of, or some manipulation has been done in the books of accounts. The same case applies to the payables or the creditors. You find that an account for so and so, maybe ABC, can read that we owe that particular person a certain amount of money, but at the end of the day, that amount was paid, but somebody pocketed that money, but still it captures that this account has never been paid yet. That amount of money was embezzled, but the name of that particular creditor was not cleared from the books of accounts. So those are the checks that we need to come up with, and we find out actually whether the books of accounts are properly maintained and they capture the true and fair view of the state of affairs. That is basically how to do it. In the series of the notes that I'm going to deliver, I'm going to give a highlight of each and every item: the receivables, the payables, the capital How do you do an audit program for the capital? How do you do an audit for the cash and bank? How do you do the audit for the investment? Such kind of thing. So I was giving a nutshell of the audit program as a whole so that it can guide you to know what needs to be done, the risks that are associated with each and every level of items that are going to be captured in the books of accounts, and also the areas that needs to be looked at when you are doing the audit for those particular areas. Thank you very much for your time.